Hello, church, and welcome to the second of these midweek updates that I'll be doing, posting to our website. I'm in a different location today because I got a little feedback that where I filmed last week made me look, some people said 10, one person said 20 years older. Not that there's anything wrong with that, but figured I'd give it a shot here and see if it was a little better in my office. But I hope this video finds you doing well, managing your days and discovering ways to move through them that are life-giving. I hope you're all healthy. I want to start with just a few informational pieces in this update. One is that we really would encourage you to please send your prayer requests for the Saturday worship. That's when we record the worship services that we post on Sundays. Please do email them to the church office. church.secretary@1ccauburn.org. You can send them that way and they'll be sure to find their way to me. I'll be happy to incorporate them into those worship services. I know this has been a trying time for many of us as far as work, but I do want to say or to encourage that as you are able, please do continue sending your pledges and any offerings that you can. The church mailbox is very secure, so it's just very appreciated as we are still trying to be the church, to administer all these different programs that we still are able to run just in different ways. So we very much appreciate that. I have been in contact with the activities director at ART, Auburn Ravine Terrace, and I'm working with her. Her name's Memphis, and we're helping to make sure that residents down there, both those who are connected to the church and who have yet to be, might find our webpage and access the worship and update content as well. I want to thank Becca Kreiner for posting the children's conversation that you will find also on our webpage connected to the worship service, and also the recent addition of a Facebook page, a First Congregational Church Christian Education Facebook page that many of you parents already are aware of, but if you haven't seen that you can find that on Facebook. So that's wonderful. Trying to make sure that we have access to our young families and provide a ministry for them too in this new way that we're doing it. Many of you have received the crossword for this week. Thank Barb Grandstaff. I thank her for being in the office to put that together. Email is the way we've sent most of it out, but I know there are some copies, hard copies, that are in the door of the church office. So if you're able to come up to get that, there will be some for you there, or else just email Barb and we can find a way to get a hard copy to you. Today, I wanted to share just this story that was circulating around Facebook that some of our church members posted, actually, that I just found so not only beautiful and sweet, but appropriate for the time, this sort of crazy time we're in right now with social distancing and this virus, but also related to Easter and the power of resurrection and new life as it finds its way to us. And it's a story about Franz Kafka, who's a well-known author. He was living in Germany, and in this story, he was 40 years old, and he never had kids, but he was walking in a park in Berlin, and he met this little girl who was crying, and he asked her what's wrong, and she'd lost her doll. And so he took the time to look for the doll with her, and they never did find it. But he said to her that he would come back tomorrow, the next day, to help her look for it. Maybe they'll find it that day. Well, they did. They met there, and they did not find the doll, unfortunately. But Kafka had written a letter that was, written by the doll, and had given it to this little girl. And the letter said something to the effect of, "Please don't cry, because I have gone on an adventure, and I'm traveling the world." And so that helped the little girl when she saw this letter that was written by the doll that helped her come to terms with it being away. And it went on like this. Regularly, Kafka would meet this young girl to provide her letters that were written by her doll as it traveled the world, and it really helped her. It gave her amusement and delight to think about her doll doing all these trips. Well, eventually, the doll came back, or at least that's the story that Kafka told her, because he had gone out and purchased a different doll. And when he gave this doll, after he told the girl, well, the doll's back, it was clearly not the same doll. But he gave her a letter that said, I know I look different, but that's what traveling does. It changes us. So I'm changed, but I'm the same doll, on the inside. And so the girl loved it. She squeezed the doll, she loved it, and she went on her way. Well, at this stage of Kafka's life, I'm sure he knew by now. He had been diagnosed with tuberculosis, and he only was to live for less than a year after this interaction. And as the story goes, later in this little girl's life with this doll that he had given her after Kafka had died, she was, looking at the doll, appreciating it, remembering, and then she found in this little spot, this little crevice, this little place that she hadn't seen before, there was another little note that Kafka had left for her. And she pulled it out, and on a tiny piece of paper signed by him, it said, "Everything you love will probably be lost, but in the end, love will return in another way." And it's just such a beautiful story on so many levels. And I hope that hearing it today gives you a sense of hope, maybe of peace, maybe of grounding, that the way things are today are different, and maybe feeling like they're going to keep getting different, maybe more challenging. But that even if that is how things go, that there is something beautiful, something loving that will always be returning to you. It might not look like it looked like before, but be ready to receive it when it comes your way. I want to close with something that's also been on my mind that I've been missing, and that is a little song that we do at the end of our worship services. So I'm going to play it the best of my ability, because my office is kind of cold, so my hands are a little cold. But anyway, blessed be the tie that binds. So I'm going to play it, and when you're watching this, maybe sing along, hum along, and one way or another, we'll be singing it together. Blessed be the tie that binds our hearts in Christian love, the fellowship of humankind is like to that above. I hope you all feel held by the love of God. And I hope in your own ways that you can continue to reach out beyond the spaces that you find yourself, to spread that love to all that with whom you connect these days. So until we meet again in our worship service on Saturday, which will be posted on Sunday, stay well and in God's love. Amen.